You've heard what he said, how it started, and how it got to this point. At this point, he was the only one who knew about what was going on because we could not visit him because of
The
COVID again.
restrictions.
Yeah, there was so much restriction. So at this point, my brother went to visit him, my elder brother Sullivan. Um, I just want you to tell people what you felt like because it was on the 25th of December,
December,
2020.
Christmas.
Yeah, on Christmas Day when you went to visit him in
Yes.
hospital. And you're the first person who heard about it because you're the first person that he told you about what
Yeah, when
his
I
diagnosis
yes,
was.
when
So
I
what was your
arrived in
reaction?
the hospital, I was with my friend Joshua,
Mhm,
and my Kenyan brother
mhm.
Joshua. When I arrived there, because of the restrictions, we could not go in at the
The
same
both of
time.
you.
That was an advantage for me to
Mhm.
talk to him privately to know what is going on because I was so worried. It has been for more than 9 months. He has been coughing, you know, and I see the situation, the prognosis are getting worse and worse every day. It's
So
worsening.
did
So
you
I
at
was
any point
worried.
even have an idea that
I
it could
didn't
be
have
cancer?
any clue that it could be cancer because I rolled it out from my own medical experience.
Mhm.
I knew for a fact that because of the truth that nobody had ever suffered from cancer in our family,
Mhm.
both paternal and maternal. I've never heard of anyone sick of cancer or died of cancer in our family.
Right.
And in both maternal and paternal family, none of us smoke. My dad doesn't smoke, my mom doesn't smoke, extended relatives, they don't smoke. So it's very rare to suspect that for one reason or the other we could have such a disease or a diagnosis in our family.
Mhm.
So I knew for a fact that it could be complication of chronic bronchitis,
Bronchitis.
which is atelectasis, collapse
In the
of
lungs.
the lungs.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is what I suspected, and I knew that was what he was going to tell me. I also rolled out COVID because the signs and symptoms of COVID were not very visible in his
Mhm.
case.
Mhm.
There was no like fever, there was those signs of COVID, they were not
Right.
visible.
They were not visible.
So when I
Right.
got to the hospital, they say both of us could not enter, me and Joshua, so he had to wait outside. I went
Right.
inside the room. I saw Kelvin. He looked sad. Yes, you know. When I entered inside the room, I knew something was wrong because when he saw me, his looks just changed. The body language said it all. He was looking so weak, so frail. And when I got inside, I said, Kevin, how are you feeling? He said, I'm good. I think they got their diagnosis today. I said, what did he say? He said, no, keep your stuff down. Let's talk. Let's sit and talk. We need to talk. When I settled down, he said, bro, we just have to be ready for anything in this life. Sometimes we never can really tell. I have something very pertinent to talk to you about. I say, what is it? Tell me, what is it that you want to tell me? Is it the disease? What is wrong? What did they diagnose? Is it tuberculosis? Don't bother for the treatment and everything. I know it's going to take some time. It's scary, but please, just be patient. Just tell me what they explained to you. He said the doctor said it's cancer. At that same point in time, I was demoralized. I was dehydrated. I felt my world crumble. Everything I have worked for came to an end. I lose appetite for everything. Food. I could not breathe. I felt like there was a load on my shoulder. I felt like someone had actually tried to strangle me
you.
because I could not breathe. I said, Kelvin, are you kidding me? Do you think are you trying to prank me or what? How can you say this is cancer? Don't say these kind of things. He said, you are my brother that I love with all my heart, and I care about how you feel, your emotions. I cannot jeopardize your feelings on this kind of day, coupled with the fact that you left and came to pay me a visit. I've been sick and you've been worried. I know for the fact that you are not feeling good with what I'm going through. You are also worried. He said, it's cancer. and the doctor will want to speak to you. I felt like I don't know. I felt like everything has stopped. I thought I was going to die because that was the first time that I've received a shock like that in my life. And this message was delivered to me at on the 25th of December at 12 p.m. noon. 12 p.m. noon, 12:45. The time was 12:45. I will never forget 25th of December. It was a nightmare. I couldn't digest. I could not breathe, but I had to hold myself because he is suffering from the disease. He is going through the pain. My reaction would tell him, would speak a lot on how he's going to handle. Now he's starting now to think, if you can handle it, you as a man, you as the person very close to me, how will dad and mom and the other people handle this?
Absolutely.
I almost cried. I mourned for a while, for about 5 seconds, but I had to handle myself like a man.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin told me, bro, don't worry, we'll get through this. I said, I should be the one telling you this. I tried, but I could not hold it, so I broke into tears. I started crying. He said, bro, you don't have to do this. How do you want me to feel? I said, bro, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know how I feel right now. I need to get this load off my chest. He too, he was forced to cry. But I had to hold myself. I had to handle myself like a man. He could not even cry because when he tried.
Difficult thing I've ever said to anyone
in his entire life.
Twice. Actually breaking the news, it's the most difficult news I've ever had to break to anyone. I found it almost very difficult. It's like you telling someone you just committed murder. You're trying to confide in someone who really trusts you. Because it was very, very difficult because I knew the emotional ramifications were going to be severe. So it was very tough for me to tell him. At one point I had thought of, just keeping it to myself and trying to sail through it, but I knew it was going to be absolutely impossible.
And how long will you keep it
to
yourself?
Go through it without having to tell
how long
you all that what the situation was and how was I going to go through it. There was no way I could lie my way through the situation because I knew it was a very rough path.
And the reason, because I remember you telling me that you the both of you decided that I shouldn't know about it. No, you said you didn't want me to know about it because
at one point,
of the way Big was feeling, right?
Yes, at one point I considered that. I considered keeping it away from you, but again I thought it would be absolutely unfair for me to do that.
Okay.
But it was very difficult for me. It was a news that was very difficult for me to break.
That was the worst thing I've ever heard with my ears.
So I decided I was going to tell you, but it was a tough decision for me to take. But there was nothing else I could do. There was no way I could keep it away from you, definitely, because I knew it was a tough road ahead.
The whole day I could not eat. I lose appetite for food, for water. I didn't drink. I didn't eat or drink even water. The whole day, the 25th of December 2020. The year was quite rough, but that one was worst.
It had been a tough year for me all along.
It was worst.
It had been a tough year for me all along, from the time from the fever throughout the period of the cough, when I thought it was just normal cough. It was really a tough year. Actually, when I went to those clinics and they said it wasn't, they said it wasn't corona. There was actually a point during my visits to the clinics and the hospital that I had the COVID, but the signs and symptoms were absolutely missing. No test was conducted. So when I went to the hospital and the series of tests were conducted, they discovered that
antibodies.
I had COVID antibodies in my system, which means at one point about
contracted the disease and
prior to when I went to Rashid Hospital, I had COVID, and I got well without even going to the hospital, without taking any medication for the COVID. So,
and for the most part, it was not even about breaking the news to me, it was how I was going to deal with it. When I left the hospital after spending the whole day, I didn't really handle it correctly. Even though I held myself like a man, I did not cry so much when he told me, because I just wanted him to feel like everything will be okay. I told my brother, we'll get through this. Everything will be okay. Even if it needs that, I need to give you one of my lungs to support you. He said to me boldly, bro, don't worry, it hasn't got to that. You won't need to do that. I said, but you are too young. This kind of thing should not happen to you. Even anybody at any age, this is the worst thing to happen to anyone.
I had already braced myself for anything, for any outcome. So I was not really overwhelmed by the news, because I knew something was seriously wrong already. Before I was told, I knew there was something that was definitely very wrong. So it was not really too overwhelming when I was told, but it was emotionally crushing.
Yes. You know, after I left you in the hospital, I started crying. I couldn't really hold myself. I couldn't control myself. I lose control of myself, because I felt like the whole world was against me. I felt like everything, it's over for me. So I couldn't really handle it well. I started crying in the metro. Everybody was looking at me like, what is wrong with him? What is happening? I couldn't conduct myself very well. I had no appetite, no interest for anything. And from that day, the 25th of December 2020, from that I got the news, to about 5 months later, I had no emotions.
Which is a few days.
It affected my job. I could not even correlate with reality. I had a problem. I was lost in the thought of my brother. Everything was to me like life has just been a dream with my brother. What is going on? What is happening? I just felt like every minute he was dying. And he was always hiding something from me, because he knew I would not handle it well. So he was always hiding. So many times he had emergencies that needed to be responded to. He got help from other people. And many people have supported physically, especially Steve,
Yeah,
my roommate.
He
was always
nice.
there. He said, your big brother cannot handle this thing well. If he comes here, he won't do anything. He will be crying all over the place. So I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to sacrifice my time. I'm going to put everything on the line to see that you get what you need, the care you need. And he stood for him. I respect that. He did a lot.
A whole lot.
Every day when I get into the room, he said, bro, don't worry. Everything's under control. Your brother is fine, okay? You just need to relax. You are already going through a lot. It wasn't easy.
That is crushing.
It wasn't easy. I couldn't even communicate properly with the people around me. Everything was just irritating to me.